infantry and a couple of heroes waiting atop the ramp for him. A good start already.
We'll see if there's any kind of lane swaps or anything. The big question for me was like, do you consider sending Void to the offlane? I think the SF matchup is just not much better than the Venom, so maybe a case where they just hope that Yuragi can play catch-up Dota. You will have Empower to play around later on too, so early rune battles here. They go in onto Yuragi, who loses the right-click battle to Wise Undying, and will take a bit of damage as well.
And chased back. Forced to time walk early on as well. It looks like he's even thinking about the lane swap. Pretends to go to the top lane, and he's starting to wander down bottom. So they are going to go for a bit of a shift here, OG.
Yep.
But LGD have lane wards. LGD will see bottom lane when he arrives. Maybe even see him in that bottom rune spot if he traverses down there. They'll absolutely know what's going on here.
If I'm LGD, I'm fine with these lanes. Like, you already see, if they wanted to swap as well, they should already be moving. I think you're saying, you know, Void has a bad lane regardless. The SF one is just slightly less bad, but given that Void's playing in the offlane and it's going to arrive late, SF is going to already have built up a bit of a CS advantage. This bottom lane should still favor LGD.
Okay, another situation where support's getting a little bit of farm. Misha getting a last hit there, a bit of experience before Yuragi arrives at that bottom lane. And level 1 in the Nether Ward. I try and contend with the bit of spam coming out of Armor Engine Q, but there's a stun into one raise. Looking for the short range one, but couldn't get in range. Yuragi with no time walk though, just gonna get chased down and right clicked for first blood for LGD.
And they leave it for the SF. That's so nice for them. He'd use time walk just to undo some of the raise damage in lane, and that level 1 time walk is such a long cooldown that LGD are able to punish them. This is kind of what I touched upon. Like, there is no good side lane for the Void. I mean, the mid lane's also bad. There's just no good lane for this Void to go to. He's just in for a rough time. They're picking him for the mid to late game team fights, but it does look like Yuragi's going to be suffering.
Jin Q fake pumps the stun, a deny on the Nether Ward, in fact, at the end there from OG. Yeah, difficult lane bottom, and top lane they're being dived as well. Amar is about to drop here. No deny from Tiger. Just a tombstone and a gale from Y and Faith Beyond. And a big juicy wave arriving on this tier 1 means Razor here needs to be quickly back into lane.
And that's what feels so good about this LGD draft is, like, the Venom's really happy playing against a Razor. It's, you know, often in the past been considered one of the good counter picks to Razor if you are playing it in lane. So they've got 2 side lanes, regardless of how OG, you know, laned it, they were going to be at an advantage on the LGD side.
Yeah, and then by extension, they know these supports aren't going to be rotating into mid, so Pango against Magnus going to be a bit of a farm trade. As BZM, nice play there with a shockwave to secure the water rune. He is about a wave ahead of Nothing to Say, but not a massive gap between them, and probably no real outplays to be made here, right? You've got Swash to contend with any skewer play. There's going to be hitting creeps for the first 6 minutes.
Yeah, the thing is, a farm battle, one that Magnus is more than happy to play and win because of all that bonus damage, sitting on 96 damage to the Pengo's 66. We'll see how BZM fares here. But it should just be a pretty farm game until these supports start thinking about rotating.
Oh, OG with a good bit of damage onto Armate.
Yeah.
Needs some tangos from Jin Q. Curious to see how that all played out. Looks like it started with a Jin Q go with a stun and an attempt on Yuragi. Gotta be wary of that Nether Ward. It's one of those unexpected tools sometimes. Oh God!
Boy!
Okay. Well,
Okay.
yeah.
He's thinking he's got time walk, but the quick raises just blow him up. Triple raise and you're done.
And top lane,
yeah.
Taken down, but Amar dead again. 4-0 start. 1 kill goes
Tiger's
the way of
feasting,
OG.
though.
Tiger, the big punches. 142 bonus damage. Loses the buff, though, so why?
Oh, no.
Back in the trees.
Oh, he
He'll
turned!
get the kill. Dies to the tower in the end, so a 2 for 2 in the top lane. Massive fight between the 2 squads there.
I'm pretty sure Undying lives if he keeps running, but he turned because he thought he had the better attack animation and would attack first, but the ET just gets the punch in before the Undying could hit him, so... Oh, unfortunate for him. TP mid, though. Dying as a support, always... Mid laners are happy. Gets the free bottle refill, and there's a lot of creeps that were waiting for the Venom in the top lane, so he TP'd into like a double creep wave to farm.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, very nice for him. Where's Y wandering now? You've got an interesting obs ward placed there. That just gives a little glimpse of vision.
The kill bottom. Yep.
Oh, the raise
Triple
lands.
raise. Yep. Hit the double close range, and then he backed off for the long range, and Yuragi trying to punish. Needs a lucky bash, though, and he's just not getting it. The level 1 bash, only 12%, and he's no Spirit Breaker.
No, he's definitely not. Well, Amar dead once more. Faith Bian and Y, they return back to that lane, collapse on the Razor, while Tiger, well, he was elsewhere. Difficult times for OG.
Yeah, all these kills going LGD's way in the lane stage, but at the same time, I think the net worth indicator is kind of where you have to look a bit. You don't mind giving up some kills if you're getting farmed, but they are being out-farmed, particularly the Razor, I think, having a rough time here. That's a TP back to lane again. It's definitely at least a little bit of a concern if you're an OG fan.
Yeah, it's BZM making the calls like, just drag it out, it's fine, I'm getting my farm, I'll get my items. What kind of progression will we see from BZM though? Is this one of those, Echo Saber Magnuses with a big damage? Do we go Blink with Force utility? What do you reckon?
I'm expecting more of utility. You've got Razor as well as Void on your team. I think playing around the, your Blink Skewer initiations is going to make a lot more sense. For now, he's just leveling up in power though, so. But I think like Blink, even BKB type build is going to be what makes the most sense this game.
Okay, yeah, well, a DD rune. Gathered up by Y, throws the Tombstone and the Rolling Thunder into BZM, tries to skewer away, but nothing to say. He's got his number and tracks back onto the Magnus.
That's a kill of a mid laner there. Oh, and he gets the +1. Great find from Nothing to Say. Yeah, I think for BZM going for that rune, he knew he could get there before the Pengo, so he kind of, he forces Undying to pick it up, but then you're just giving Undying like all these right clicks plus the Rolling Thunder. He had no real escape from it, so bit of a overly aggressive play there, I think, from the Magnus. Maybe not recognizing that Pengo was already level 6.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they've got a great way as OG to relieve this pressure. Amara just dying again top. You got Faith Beyond with his Urn, using his charges and the poison attacks to take down Razor for the 4th time this game. Really a struggle in these lanes from OG, and this is the snowball that we were expecting and LGD kind of required in the first 10 minutes. But what's the response? Like, there's no, Earth Spirit Tusk kind of hero. There's no real form of team fight or initiation until OG get levels and items.
The response is to hit some creeps. Let's empower up your Void, stack some camps, jungle it up, and avoid fighting LGD. You've got, a Venom who's going to have full control of this top lane. He went for 2-2 before starting to level up Plague Wards. I like it. And also got a value point in Poison Nova. That's how he got that kill. I feel like so many Venoms skip Poison Nova, but great to see him go for that. But here's the move from OG. Oh my god, that Pango.
But Pango with a big swash and a Rolling Thunder while Arme skewered across into the RP from BZM. Jinkyu already dead after dropping low under the tower, and OG enough damage to bring down the Nyx and the Shadow Fiend while not losing anyone yet. Misha heals up, back off his wand, and Y getting chased down with a shockwave and a play forward from Yuragi. They get the kills they need. 10-5 now, and OG a bit of a response, looking for Nothing to Say. He's got no swatch, no Rolling Thunder. Shield Crash gives him a ton of block on that damage incoming, and Jinkyu with the 3-man stun. Holds back OG, but they are not giving up on this. Chasing back into the tree line. Finally, Misha will die to Nothing to Say, but a skewer onto Jinkyu, opening up a potential kill on the Nyx. BZM wants it desperately, but now Faith Bian's joined the fray, battling away onto the Magnus, looking for the pick-off, and he'll find it with his dominating streak going. And Jinkyu, he lines a stun up onto the Faceless Void. No stuns coming from LGD though, so a time walk back allows the Void to slip away from their grasps.
Once the Venom shows up, the party's over for OG, but up until that point, it was a stellar team fight for them. It looked like Pengo was going to eat them alive. He had multiple swashbuckles that connected on like 2-3 heroes and got them incredibly low, but he didn't have the ability to finish any of them off, and OG just kind of were taking LGD down one by one and going from one kill to the next, just bringing superior numbers. Something I didn't expect them to make such an aggressive move. That was like a level 5 Faceless Void taking a 4v4 fight under an enemy tier 1 tower. That's kind of unheard of, but that's the OG way.
Yeah, it's mental stuff. Just OG with this overwhelming knowledge of team fight maths or something like this. Okay, we have this hero, this spell, we can do this and dive under tower, it's all fine. Knowing what's going on. But as soon as they respawn, LGD, they're back out on the map, hunting BZM with the Pango and the Nyx. Can't catch up to the Magnus quite yet, but this is just the barrier in front of Arme's SF. They've given him some stacks in the jungle. He's cleared through them. Still has a large camp to farm and mid lane to push out. So a lot of focus here for the Shadow Fiends farm now for LGD.
Yeah, the Mask of Madness really saying I'm going to look to guarantee and scale into the late game, not going for any kind of early BKB. Wanting to play that true late game hard carry. I mean, you've got Pengo Venu, you've got so much ability to pressure these early towers and parts of the map. There's mid lane though, find Misha.
Good catch. Take down the Pugna. Can't really use this as a platform to go do anything else, just to kill for kill's sake. But
lose the Undying. Any bash? Oh, first any Chronos. Oh, he didn't believe in the bash. Yeah, why tips him? It was literally like 0.1 second on the TP, so he didn't believe in the bash, so he just insta-casted Chrono with the right click.
LGD gonna get some recourse though. Take down Tiger in the bottom lane. I was thinking it's a bit of an awkward spot for Faith Bian. You know, he TP'd bottom to get involved with that fight, which was nice, but then he got a bit stuck in his bottom lane. Not really where you want your Veno to be. You'd much rather him pressuring the opposing tier 1. But the fact that they get this tower now means there's a lot of space to invade this Ancients area, scout out a stack, and Jin-Q, he spotted BZM and Misha.
Yeah, and playing against Empower Magnus. He's a hero that wants to farm these stacks. They do see Jin-Q here. He's on a sentry ward, so they're trying to bait this a bit.
Well, he gets off his carapace though. Skewer back, already spending the RP and the shockwave, and BZM close to death while nothing to say, thinking about the play forward, has another swashbuckle to finish off Misha's Pugna. LGD bring the numbers, 4 members of the Chinese squad in the mid lane and looking to pressure tier 1 again.
Yeah, they can get this early tier 1 tower, fighting it. I think anywhere the Veno goes, you just can't really contest if you're OG. Maybe with like the big team fight ultimates, but Chrono's down, RP's down now. So this should just be a free tier 1 for the Venomancer, and very likely he goes for that top tier 1 tower that you were talking about. Just making, you know, once you TP bottom to secure that fight, you may as well stick around, get the tower there, your TP's on cooldown, and then he takes the tier 1 mid along their way to the top lane. So just efficient moves coming out from Faith Bian.
Take control of this map. Jin-Q now putting himself in that top jungle, trying to see if OG are gonna launch a counter-attack and defend top, but with Void TPing out, looks like he's giving up any idea of defending. Just get what farm you can, get some utilization out of this Hand of Midas and the Empower. Keep scaling.
Yeah, they need RP, Blink Dagger before they can really try and defend objectives, I think, which they're just about to get. They're going to lose ET down bottom, PSG.LGD. They make the move top, but it was, you know, just enough heroes to take the tier 1 tower while still aggressively using Vendetta to find the kill down bottom at the same time. So they're just doing a great job playing multiple lanes, not over-committing resources to one part of the map. When you've got this Veno, you don't need to bring 5 to push a tower. Just do it with 2 or 3 and look for these kills elsewhere.
They're going for it. With the Undying and the Veno, they feel like they've got enough damage through the Shadow Fiend. Just rip through Roshan. 13 minutes in, we're going to have Aegis here for LGD.
Yeah. We'll give them... The Aegis is nice, but this also just means you take Rosh this early, that second Rosh with a free shot comes up that much earlier as well, so...
Yeah.
Because this is not an Aegis that's going to... It'll allow them to play super aggressive, farm the enemy side of the map, take these... Probably a tier 2 tower with it, which gets them the enemy outpost, but they're just playing their draft at a pace that OG cannot match because of... Really, just the greed. They've got, you know, they've got a Midas on Void. I think that's the right item pickup, but they've got 3 farming cores. BZM does have the Blink Dagger, and he's going BKB next, so he's trying to be the selfless core, but he's looking around like, well, my Void and, you know, my Razor, they're not really ready to fight, at least not until Razor is BKB.
Yeah, all 3 of the Die cores hovering around 3,000 net worth. While you look at the SF, even the Venomancer, 7.5 grand to Faith Bian's name. Very quickly closing in on a Wraith Pact on top of the Spirit Vessel, so going double utility here on Veno.
Wraith Pact feels really nice.
OG gonna smoke though. 3 heroes sat behind Yuragi. And they do
Carapace.
Yeah, Jin-Q's out of there.
It's hard for OG. They're trying to find pickoffs. Even with these smokes, they don't really want a full 5-on-5 fight. Go back to the Wraith Pack. It just feels so nice because OG's draft is so like 5v5 team fight heavy. It's going to mitigate so much damage. And when you've got this gold lead to go with it, just makes it so dangerous for OG. And they're getting picked apart now.
Yeah, good patience from Jin-Q, waiting for his team to arrive. Even holding that stun as Amar was doing a few little shimmies to try and dodge it. But the next assassin, ever patient. This map starts to become pretty small for OG. You know, the greed not paying off just yet. It's a 7k lead for LGD and limited places to farm for Yuragi.
Yeah. This is where the Nyx assassin feels so nice because you can be pushing out like multiple lanes with Veno, with Pengo, and Nyx is just going to be vendettaing around the map trying to find the kills because OG are going to go. They're going to go wherever LGD are not. They're not looking to defend against this Veno. They're looking to farm the opposite side of the map, and Nyx is the perfect hero to go and hunt down enemy farmers.
Yeah, and we often joke about the farming Aegis. Usually that occurs when, you know, a team isn't really able to go and push or anything. But this is literally just Shadow Fiend making sure he has a second life if he does get caught out or a sneaky smoke comes out of OG. He just planted himself in his Ancients, farming away up to 9,000 net worth. But the jump in from BZM top, catching out the Veno into the life drain. Nothing to say, it's taken down Amar already though, as Faith Bian falling near that tier 1 top. LGD, you're gonna move in quickly though. Time to dive. BZM swashbuckled down. The life drain won't heal him up anywhere near enough, and nothing to say with why. They've got the gap close onto Misha. Pugner's stranded, and Jinkyu secures it with a stun.
Tiger's still in the neighborhood playing around a vision and ward. He gets stunned up, still has a TP out. And they know there's a ward up here. Yeah, they're going to get the D ward, and they're going to find Tiger. Impale up in a second, so they'll finish off at 4th hero. Not a good fight for OG. It was a fight they chose to take because they knew they were creating a lot of space for the Void down bottom, who did get the tier 1 tower and is getting a lot of farm, but seeding up so many kills to a Shadow Fiend plus the tier 2 tower is still not going to feel worth it if you're OG.
I mean, the panel, we're talking about Arme needing to show up in some of these games. He's got a lot of farm here. We'll see how much impact he can have. Really defending himself with the next item BKB. Trying to withstand some of OG's teamfight prowess.
Definitely Zhao Wei with the draft is showing up, as is Faith Beyond. His Veno has been the kind of tempo setter.
Tier 2, their prize to claim in the mid lane. Having already taken top and the outpost. Just a systematic dismantling of OG. And a high ground tombstone leading into an impale from Nyx. Misha, half HP from just zombies. Drops down the Verdurous Dale. A bit of heal there, but just OG retreating. Every step is a slow shuffle back towards their base.
Give up the tier 2 tower, unable to fight. The RP was still on cooldown. And it's, even with the RP, it's so hard to get off. Playing in a Veno with these like blink initiators can sometimes feel really rough.
Arme's found his new home. Enemy Ancients. Get some more neutral items in his hands.
Yep.
And I'm assuming BKB is about to be delivered.
Yeah. Very methodical from LGD. It's one of these classic games where you get first Aegis as early as possible, and you use it to take these outer tier 2 towers, get outposts, and they're going to maybe get Amar here as well. Carapace going to find him and gets a 2-man impale.
That's just beautiful, isn't it?
Yep.
Really gorgeous from Jinkyu, and the exact move that you were talking about. They're pushing mid, they're farming enemy Ancients, pushing bottom. Every lane there's a hero from LGD showing. So OG, that bit of false sense of security, thinking, okay, we've got room top, we've got a bit of space, and there's just a Nyx waiting for you.
Well, they're pinging out now. Yuragi and BZM, who are trying to get some farm here. Faith Beyond just going to push them out of the triangle, but fortunately for OG, they've already farmed it up, so getting what scraps of gold they can get, and they may look to take this team fight. They're grouping up here.
They're kind of ready for this, though. LGD in the vicinity as Jinkyu. He's not going to get caught out by anything here until the bashes from Yuragi, but they've got the mech from the Undying. The Chrono lands in onto the Undying and Shadow Fiend. Jinkyu finally dies, but Yuragi and BZM, they're dropping so quickly. Tiger and Misha trapped in the tree line. Nothing to say. Slices through one. And Tiger with a TP home, successfully escaping. But LGD, another swift, domineering performance in... I struggle to call that a team fight. That is a curb stomping from LGD.
Yeah, they just were so well split up. Like, even with 2 heroes in the Chronosphere, Faith Beyond, the real damage dealer, he's positioned on this, like, high ground cliff in some trees, just throwing out spells, vessels, plague wards, and being an absolute pest. We'll see it all here again. But Nyx Assassin, being as farmed as he is, and the front lines just using these carapaces so well. And yeah, to the top side, you see this Venom. The Venom positioning just absolutely perfect this fight.
Yeah. Yeah, right on top of that cliff top. Yeah, maxed out carapace on the Nyx. Very irritating here. As we saw, like, BZM's move there where he tried to blink past the Nyx. He was looking for that +1 to try and skewer RP. But LGD's positioning there, their spread of heroes, there weren't even a pairing of heroes to catch together. They finally got an opportunity when SF stepped next to the Undying to get a chrono, but then they were lacking damage, lacking heroes. OG spend quite a lot there for no return. We'll grab their outpost top. But LGD, they don't relinquish control of the map. You know, every inch of the map is worth a fight for them. They can come up, deward, get the outpost back in their hands, and start thinking about this next Roshan, potentially up in just under a minute.
Yeah. Having second Roche spawn so early, and that's so much the value of killing Roche at 13 minutes in as early as they did, is they're thinking, you know, Roche number 2 is when we can, if things go according to plan, which they have, and you keep on getting all these good fights, you keep pushing the tempo, you're going to be ready to go high ground with second Aegis. It also involves a free shard for Shadow Fiend, who's such an amazing shard carrier that it feels like PSG.LGD are going to be posing a real threat to OG's high ground defense.
Yeah, it's one of these kind of smokes, kind of needed from OG. They need that element of surprise. Wrapping around and stomping, attempting to catch nothing to say, but he's got his shard, so the quick roll up and the disengage from LGD. Nobody getting caught.
Yeah, Nyx did a good job. Popped a Mars smoke and then just backed off, and they knew Nyx was somewhere nearby, but they weren't able to find him once again. It's one of those things where if Nyx pops these smokes and dies, like, that's almost doing your job as well. And speaking of doing his job, he's found the Faceless Void pre-BKB. Ooh.
He'll go for Misha instead. A freebie there on the Pugna. And nothing to say beyond godlike. 10-0-7 on this Pangolier right now.
He was trying to carapace like a Maelstrom proc there maybe on the Faceless Void. Although it didn't look like Void just wasn't getting any Maelstrom procs.
Bad RNG paying off.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 minute for Roshan. Big fan of LGD here, coming and dewarding the enemy Ancient, still holding that Observer Ward on the high ground in the top jungle area. And these notice me pings, you know, why bringing attention to areas of the map that he wants his team to be playing into. It looks like
a big
Arme,
kill if they can get it.
He gets off his BKB. Chrono comes along with a static link, and Amar's walked into the Chronosphere here, so maybe with the heals we are dying to buy time for Arme to escape. Gets him a bit of distance. Requiem, is it in time? No, not quite. In comes nothing to say, but he's bouncing off the cliffs. They'll finish off the Razor, and Uragi, time walking back, tries to TP, but the zombies and Jinkyu's jump will secure them. 2 kills in the trade for Arme's SF.
Yeah. They make sure they still get the good trade, but losing the Shadow Fiend, you know, not quite according to plan, but they are still biding their time, waiting for this next Roach to respawn, and they're not done hunting quite yet. Tiger will TP out from the trees unless the bash hits him, but nothing to say. Guess is wrong.
Faith Beyond tracking back, nearly keeping tabs on him.
Ah, yes, classic. DD spawn by the Roach pit.
Yeah. That's just normal.
Yep.
SF 15 seconds away from respawning. But how are we looking on OG's ultis? Like 100 seconds for Chrono? They still have RP? They can contest this? Can they?
I mean, they have the right heroes for it. It's just whether they have the farm and the ability to kind of contest into, like, the Veno vision with the wards. Will you even be able to blink in? They're using the Spirit to keep scanning it out, but there we go. Bottle up the DD rune. We'll see if he holds on to it or if he uses it for this Roche. It looks like he wants to save it for a team fight.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, look at how quickly they kill it, even without the DD.
That's some serious pain. And, you know, level 17 SF means we've got the level 15 talent, so we're going to have plenty of ability to start pressuring these objectives. Going high ground's always the tough ask, though. We've got a Magnus with Blink Skewer, going for an Aether Lens even to go with it.
Yeah, shard on the SF, though, with Aegis and the bottle DD you mentioned. Also, I like the play there for Jinkyu. We see it quite often, just launching out a seemingly random stun into the dying Roshan, but he's making sure there's no blink steal or attempted sneaky play from OG.
Yeah. Some support comes running in for a suicide to deny Aegis play.
Yeah. A swinging bot. BZM has used his blink. It's on cooldown for 10 seconds. But Uragi is... Oh, he's under a Radiant Ward. They perfectly see the Faceless Void, the stun, the chain disables. They've caught out the Void, but is there enough damage to finish him before Time Walk? Nothing to say. 3 connections with his Rolling Thunder. Perfectly done off the back of Jinkyu's initiation.
Yep. Absolutely flawless movement around the map from LGD, it feels like, this game, and they're going to press forward. Double damage SF. Could go for the high ground play now. They've got a creep wave coming down mid. It's not the easiest lane to push. Sometimes teams want to prioritize these side lanes, but with Plague Wards and the ability to kind of keep OG back, feels like this should go pretty seamlessly. They've already forced out the glyph. Just that first creep wave. Perhaps a bit preemptive from OG, because now LGD are going to look to pressure.
400 damage a hit. Arme popping away at this tier 3.
Yeah.
Tombstone on the high ground as well as BZM. Not sure if that was an attempt, but he gives it a crack with the initiation.
Yeah, the SF range, he's got the Dragon Lance, he's just able to position far enough back with the support of the Plague Wards. The Plague Wards make it really hard for this Magnus to get in.
Well, they get rid of the DD, Blink Yule's in, but the turnaround from Jinkyu, good 4 staff from Tiger. Gets BZM away from danger in the meantime, but their racks have fallen. 26 minutes in, your first melee claimed up by LGD. And it really is this algorithmic play from them, you know, from laning stage through to now. It's just been toppling buildings one after the other.
Yep. The Void did get out of the base to Midas a creep and is going to have a BKB for this next push that is almost surely coming. I feel like if you're LGD, you're just eyeing off that top lane of racks. They don't have Pengo. Pengo's gone for the bottom rune. If OG take a fight right now... Oh, the window's closing though, and they're being jumped on.
Yeah, scouted and caught out by Jinkyu's Nyx. He goes in for a stun and then quickly runs. Trying to keep vision here over Tiger with another Yules, but the catch from BZM sending Jinkyu back towards tier 3, but they've got the poison over the Plague Walls and all the damage from the Venom. Well, Arme's outside of the Chrono. Yuragi tried just to control it, nothing to say, while Amar diving in onto the SF, draining all of his damage. Yuragi back in, but Arme's got this Mask Commander's going, the BKB's up, getting bashed in the meantime, needs a bit of help from his team, but Yuragi focusing SF. They've lost too much, they can't finish him off. Arme survives, and their cores have all died. GG is called, and game 1, it's over.
Yeah, the carries on the front lines just didn't have the supports. They're going to go for some last piece here, but Pengo got the entire back line. His Blink Rolling Thunder in with the roll-up. He was just chain stunning these supports, taking ET out of the fight